Look at that, Shadzilla. What is up, everybody? Chad Ferguson here, Catfish Edge, coming back with another catfishing video today. I'm out here with the family. My lovely daughter here, Ava. We're gonna see if we can get her on a big fish. We just made a quick run out. We've got about an hour of daylight left, and we're gonna see if we can't catch some catfish. And today, I'm gonna show you everything that you need to know to go out and use planer boards to catch catfish. But we don't have a whole lot of time. We've got no wind. Barometric pressure is real high. Conditions are not ideal, and fishing has been really tough. Our water temperatures are warm, but we're gonna see what we can't make happen today. So let's get started. I'm gonna cut these pieces a little bit short, like that. Just cut that gut pocket out. The fish have been biting real short, so I don't want a long piece of bait that they can grab hold of. I'll do that. I'll wipe my hands off with this very dirty towel, and we're gonna get some baits in the water. So what I'm doing here, I've got just a Santee rig using the Whisker Seeker floats. I've got several different variations of the Whisker Seeker floats on here. Triple threat hook. Got my leader line run up to a ball chain swivel here, bead, and then a Versa rattle up above it, and then another piece of leader line running up here to my Whisker Seeker sinker slide, and then I've just got a drifting weight on here. And that's a pretty simple rig you can use for lots of different types of catfishing. Obviously, really the only variation between fishing on anchor and drifting would be using the sinker slide and this drift fishing weight. And this float will lift that bait up and hold it off the bottom. Get it up in the line of sight of the catfish. I've covered that time and time again. I'll put a video or a link down below to a video on Santee rig and some other tips for rigging for catfish. This right here is a professional maneuver. I've practiced that many times. I'm just letting some line out, and I have my Minn Kota Ulterra trolling motor up there in the front deployed, and I have a track laid out with my iPilot link. So my Minn Kota Ulterra runs into my Humminbird Solix fish finder. I can pull that map up and lay out GPS waypoints and a track for that Ulterra to follow. So I've done that. I marked fish, and I'm using my remote here. I have the cruise control set here on my remote to control my speed, and I'm just kind of slowly going to go along that path where I've marked those fish. And I'm letting enough line out here. I'm going to have to crank my speed up some. We've got kind of a light and variable wind right now, so the boat's moving around, kind of swaying a little bit. That's why my lines are going off to the side. I've kind of gotten off my path a little. So I'm going to kick my speed up just a little bit and straighten this out, get back on my path, and let some line out here and get these baits out away from the boat. I'm going to let about probably 60-70 feet of line off, maybe 50 feet. Get those baits out away from the boat, and then I'm going to put my planer boards on. And those planer boards are basically used to pull the baits out away from the boat. And when you're have no wind, this is a great way to fish. I actually fish this way a lot. I've been using these techniques for a very long time, and I like fishing like this because I can go out and I can find fish, and I can actively target those fish, whether it be on some sort of structure or a flat or whatever the case may be. I can pull those baits right through where the fish are instead of relying on the wind. So I'm going to let the line out, get that bait out away from the boat here. As always, I'm using the high-vis fishing line so I can really see these lines and see what's going on. One of the things you want to be really careful of when you're catfishing with planer boards or pulling planer boards like this, you want to make sure you keep those lines up and out of the water so they're not dragging water, because that'll cause the boards to pull erratically or not pull out as far as they should. And once I've gotten about 60, 75 feet of line out here, now I'm going to go ahead and put my planer board on. So these are castaway planer boards. I've used these for quite some time. They're really good boards. They pull really well. They're really inexpensive, and they work really well. One of the things you have to be real careful of with planer boards and catfish is making sure that you have a board that'll pull these big baits and the larger size weights that we use fishing for catfish. So what I'm going to do is just put this board on the line here. This little pigtail swivel just slides onto the line and clips on there. That's what keeps the planer board from falling off. And then I'm going to put the clip here on the line and just get it down in there real good. And then I'm going to just go ahead and put this out in the water. And I'm going to let a little bit of line out, get it out here away from the boat, and then once it starts to get out away from the boat, once I put tension on it, it's going to cause that line to pull out to the side. So now, rather than dragging baits just directly behind the boat, I've got these baits really spread out here. If you look way over here to the side, on my left here, there's a planer board way out there, and I'm covering a really large path of water here, dragging these baits. Now, one of the advantages of using planer boards is if you're dragging baits behind a boat, you've got a rod rack on the boat, you've just got rods spread out on that, you're using the trolling motor to pull those baits, you're really covering a very small area. So those planer boards will push the baits out to the side of the boat, and you can fish a much larger area of water and really make sure that you've got those baits spread out. So rather than just fishing directly behind the boat and covering maybe 10, 12, 14 feet of water, you can spread those boards out really as far as you want to and cover 100 feet of water or more, just depending on how many boards you put out and how far you spread them out. I'm running 4 boards right now. I've got the 2 outside boards probably pushed out 75, 80 feet. You can run them again as far as you want, depending on how much line you want to let out and how comfortable you are pushing those baits that far out. It can be a little bit problematic sometimes when you're fishing for big catfish. If you push those boards too far out from the boat, it can be a little bit difficult to get them back in with big fish on the boat. Not happy. No. Load it up real quick. Yeah, it's a good fish. Gotta be sit on top of the water like that and still not coming in. So it's gotta be sit on top of the water like that and still not come. Man. Yeah. Be careful with it, don't let the line get slack. They're real bad about that's a good fish. Yeah. Real bad about popping off when they come up to the top like that. Yeah. Where the planer board's gonna slip back and tighten that shit up. Nah, it'll be alright.
You wanna pull this other rod up over here where I can duck under and get on the side?
We'll dance around it. Trying to go back down.
Yeah. First fish back from Lubbock.
So we made one quick drag.
Yeah, we did.
And had a few little fish bites, couldn't get the baits in their mouth. We just pulled maybe 300 yards or so, and didn't really see a whole lot on the fish finder after that, so I have moved real quick. We're going to try to get one quick drift in, pulling the planer boards before we go in. Sun's starting to go down here, you can see, and the girls here are getting cold. Hopefully you learned something from this video. Again, planer boards are a great way to spread these baits out, really cover a lot of water. Just one of many ways to fish moving. If fish are scattered like they are here right now, this is a great way to target fish, but this is a technique that I use really a lot of the year, fishing deep or shallow, either one. You can catch fish in pretty much any depth. Great way to target and catch blue catfish. I'll put links down below to the rigs, equipment, everything else that I've used in this video, and that's it.
Subscribe and like and buy the merch. Oh yeah, and eat Chick-fil-A.